Mr. President, I rise at a time of crisis. For several months now, our nation has been dealing with two simultaneous crises. A global health pandemic that has claimed the lives of over 100,000 Americans, over 300,000 people across the globe. And an economic crisis that has cost over 40 million Americans their jobs. And in the midst of these two crises, we are now faced with yet another crisis. A crisis of anger, a crisis of racial division, flames that are pulling this country apart. This crisis was precipitated by the wrongful death of George Floyd in Minneapolis, Minnesota. George Floyd was a native Houstonian. My hometown, I loved the city of Houston. George Floyd was active in his church in Houston. Next week, Mr. Floyd will be coming back to Houston for the last time to be buried in Houston. I'm proud that last night in the city of Houston, thousands came out to protest. And there wasn't violence last night. That the people of Houston demonstrated that you can speak for racial justice, you can speak out against brutality without engaging in violence. But there's been too much violence across the country. And sadly, too many politicians who are complicit in the violence, who have made the political judgment to turn a blind eye to rioters, to thugs, to murderers, to those terrorizing communities. The riots must stop. The violence must stop. In St. Louis, 4 police officers were shot on Monday night. Fortunately, their wounds appear not to be life-threatening. But a beloved, retired police captain, David Dorn, was shot and killed by looters at a pawn shop that same night. Mr. Dorn joined the St. Louis police force in 1969. He was a dedicated law enforcement officer for nearly 40 years. His wife and the St. Louis community are grieving his loss. Mr. Dorn was also African American. The phrase Black Lives Matter has become fraught with politics. How far have we gone? Our country was founded on that proposition. The Declaration of Independence tells us we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men, not some men, not just white men or white women, but all men of every race, of every creed, of every religion are created equal. It has become politically controversial to make a statement that every life matters. And for every reporter fanning up division who doesn't stop to honor David Dorn, shame on you. His life mattered, and he didn't need to be murdered by violent looters exploiting the tensions and division. This must stop.